I am going to get this started and we're going to dive right into this topic. So the topic today is what to do when faced with unexpected tragedy. How do you bounce back? This is when you think no one is listening. This is when you think your prayers haven't been answered. It's those moments in your life when you're not sure you are going to be able to get back up. But the question is, how do you get back up? That's what we're going to be talking about. My name is Suzanne Hart, and this is Mindset Mastery. I want to take a moment and introduce the gentleman beside me. My guest is the owner of Century 21 Innovative Realty. He has been in real estate for many, many years. This gentleman is a student. He is a student of Napoleon Hill. He is a student of mindset. He is a student of growth, and he's a student of his industry, therefore successful. I wanted to sit down with this gentleman because when I called him one day and he was in the middle of probably the biggest tragedy he had faced, and I watched how he handled and managed this. So please welcome Mr. Sabir Chihuahua.
Thank
Hello.
you. Thank you again. Wow, this is a hearty welcome. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on your show, and really appreciate for having me. But yes, we did have a conversation about 3 months ago, 3.5 months to be exact, when I was hit with that tragedy, and yes, uh, that's how life is. I think life is. They say if that heartbeat monitor doesn't go up and down, if it keeps going straight, thank you very much. Hasta la vista, baby. But when there's got those ups and downs in life, like that heartbeat machine is, yes, you're alive. Your greatness is out there, or you still have the opportunity to make greatness happen if it isn't happened yet. So thank you for having me, Suzanne. But I just want to take this opportunity to thank you again.
It's an honor. And before we go back to the phone call, because I remember that phone call, because the minute you answered, I could tell that there was something wrong because your energy was so different. But before we do that, just share a little bit about your business, what you do, how long you've been in real estate.
Yeah, so Century 21 Innovative has been in business for 11 years now. I've been in real estate for about 13 years and working for a different brokerage, and we opened up in my own brokerage, Century 21 Innovative, so about 11 years in that. I've got over 200 and close to 270 realtors, Mississauga office, or depending where you're from, but we have a West office, Central, and an East office with 3 offices, managing just over 270 realtors. But I think it's not me, it's my team. And the beauty about that is we are ranked number 5 within Canada, within Century 21, East to West Coast of Canada. So that's approximately, 1,000 or something of that brokerages East to West Coast of Canada. So we're about number 5 within that. But it gets better because we're ranked number 15 globally within Century 21 family itself. So yeah, and it's basically being on how do you help your realtors? How do you mentor your realtors? How do you take them and get them to the next level? And really being excited, really being blessed. In the last 5 years, our business has been phenomenal, and really, it's been a great opportunity to help others help achieve their financial dreams, for my team and everything. So it's been a great journey of the last 5 years on that, Suzanne. So yeah, been just over 13 years being in this business, and it's great to help family get into their dream homes. And that's what we do, is like, how do I help family getting into the dream homes? Because it is certainly a real good privilege and really an honor to own a piece of real estate in Toronto and the greater Toronto area and everything. Absolutely, Suzanne.
Absolutely. And I remember, because I've had the privilege of speaking at one of your events and meeting some of your team, and it's a very community oriented environment, and it speaks to the leadership. It speaks to a healthy culture, and it speaks to the partnership that exists. So for sure.
And going back to what you said about the community, we also believe in giving back to the community. We've donated approximately over $20,000 to the Markham Stouffville Hospital over here, the Heart and Stroke Foundation. We, raise food for the food banks, the local food banks over here. So it's always been given back. We've also give scholarships to our realtors' children that are going into university. So it's
Wow.
always about giving back to the community that you serve in, because I believe the more you give, the more you will get back. The law of
Absolutely.
nature, the law of attraction, and that's been one of our biggest things. That how do we, when we give back more to the community, good things do definitely come back on that. Absolutely.
For sure, for sure.
Mhm.
So I want to jump in to, so it is, we were in the middle when I called you, we were in the middle of the beginning of everybody being sent home, COVID-19. We hadn't started using the word pandemic yet, but it was coming, and there was change everywhere. And I remember, I'm very like, there's certain people that are on my heart. So you were on my heart, and I thought, let me just call and check in and see what Sabir is doing, because you're an entrepreneur, and I know you manage a lot of families. Like when you're an entrepreneur that has a brokerage, there's a responsibility for so many families' lives. That's kind of what it feels like. And I remember you answered the phone, and it wasn't the Sabir I know. The energy was different. So can you start by sharing with the audience what was going on?
Well, first and foremost is, I had a personal loss in my life. That I was dealing with. It was Good Friday, that just passed in April. My wife, who I've been married to for 28 years, got hospitalized with COVID-19. So she basically got tested for COVID-19, and this was on Good Friday. And then by Easter Monday, she got hospitalized. So in those 2 days, her conditions completely deteriorated that we couldn't do much at home. And then we had to take her to the hospital. But at the same time, she was quarantined in her room. Me, my son, and my daughter, we were quarantined in our house. So she was in one room, and we're in this big home that we have, thank God and everything. But we couldn't be with her. We couldn't be around her. We had to make sure we're away from her, because otherwise we could get infected. But at the same time, we're like struggling to come up and see how we can do things, because nobody can come to our house now. And I
Mm-hmm.
can even go out because I need to obey the rules and the law of the land. But come Monday, which is 2 days after that, her conditions really deteriorated, and which was Monday, April 13th to be exact. I had no choice, but we spoke to the doctor and said, you need to take her to the hospital, and her condition doesn't look like it's improving. And really, there was no medication. When I took her on Friday, they just said, just got to do whatever herbal medication, start taking the puffer, because she was a asthmatic patient. So all that we did, and then I took her back to the hospital on Monday, April 13th, and now they knew she was already a COVID patient because they had already received the report. So I just had to go to Markham Stouffville Hospital, which is literally about 10 minutes away from my house. I could only drop her off at the door, can't go in. So she was unconscious. She spoke, met me, my son, my wife, and that was her final goodbye. And I dropped her off. And then I said, okay, call me because I can't go any further. Now, what am I going to do? Sit in the car? No, I'm going to go back home, because remember, I was also supposed to be quarantined.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I dropped her off. They took her in and everything. And then this was around 1:30ish Monday, about 3 o'clock, less than 2 hours or so, I get a phone call on my cell phone. And what do I see is that it's her phone number. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like excited. Okay, this is Arena Chawala. That's my wife. Okay, she's probably calling me to pick her up. That's the thought was in my head, Suzanne, but it's not her. It's a doctor on the other line says, I got some real critical news for you is that your wife is in a very, very critical situation. From a scale of 10 to 0, 10 meaning somebody's dying, she is at 7 right now. So she's at a very critical situation. And we're going to put her on a ventilator, life support machine. Um, do you give me the consent? And I'm like, what? Do I give you consent? Do you give us consent? We need to put her on this and everything. I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. What do I do? I mean, do I have any other choices? No, I mean, otherwise she'd be gone within a few hours. I'm like, yes. So then he says, okay, you know what? We're going to do FaceTime because my wife has an iPhone. I have an iPhone. We're going to do a FaceTime. But I want to make sure that before I get her online, you don't get scared with the situation because she's already in the ICU room. She's got all these masks and everything. And I'm going to give you about 15 to 20 minutes to talk to her because then once she's on this ventilator in the machine, she's going to be unconscious and she won't be able to talk. And she's probably going to be in the hospital for about 7 to 10 days, but we're confident she'll be home, 15 days, give or take, after the recuperation. So, you know what, is everything all right? I said, yeah, please go ahead. So it's me, my son, and my daughter. We do the FaceTime call, and then he says, okay, I'm going to give it to your wife now. You have about a half an hour to talk to her. Give her encouragement. Give that positive vibes and everything. So don't feel negative right now and don't make her feel bad or feel down. So here we see her. I see her now, and she's got all these masks and all these equipment around her, and I'm supposed to be positive. I'm supposed to be pumping up and everything. And I'm like, whoa, I'm scared over here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for that split second, Suzanne, I like I had to take that tears out of my eyes and bring that big smile on and say, hey, sweetheart, everything's going to be fine. Look at your kids and everything. And at the same time, we said, let's get our in-laws, her mom and everyone, so she can talk to everyone, get this positive vibes. But anyways, that 15, 20 minutes goes by, and the doctor says, folks, this is it. We have to end this call now, right? And I said, sweetheart, we love you. Everything's going to be well. We did our prayers. My son, me, my daughter, we did our prayers. She did her prayers and said, and I remember her last words were, I love you guys. I'm like, we love you too. Click. And that was it. That was August the 13th, Monday. And then every day after that, leading to it, we get a phone call from the doctor giving us updates. And they would do us a FaceTime, but she was unconscious, but she just wasn't recovering. Here, I'm in quarantine in my house, not knowing anything what the heck is going on in my life. My business had to be shut down also because I was in contact with the COVID patient. My employees were in contact with the COVID patient, so my business and my employee had to go in quarantine also. So it's like a ripple effect. And we moved into a brand new facility April 1st. State-of-the-art facility, almost 10,000 square feet facility. State-of-the-art, brand new furniture. We're putting these things in and everything. So your excitement was there built up before April 12th, 13th was built up. Yeah. And the beauty is it's a brand new facility. My son has an office. I have an office. She actually, move into a new place, there's dust and everything, Suzanne. She actually came and dusted the walls, dust off the furniture just a few days before that. So all this is going in my mind, like, what do I do? But anyways, fast forward, April 19th, which is a Friday. So she just was not recovering. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days later, she's just not recovering. They said, it doesn't look like your wife is going to survive. And I'm like, what do you mean? But you just told us that she's going to be fine a few days ago. It says her lungs have really, the virus has attacked her lungs, that she's just not recovering from this ventilator. So we have an option. We could put her on another machine. Do you give us the consent? And I'm like, whoa, what do you want me to do now? I'm like, and this is all talking over the phone. It's not like we're face to face or anything. I said, just go ahead, let's do that also. So they shifted to a different hospital, all given my consent. They put her on this new machine on Saturday, and by Monday, this is Sunday, Monday, again, she's not recovering. And then by Tuesday, April 21st, I get a phone call at around 11:15. This is in, 8, 9 days later, saying that, at around 11:15 that your wife had passed away. She was only 48 years old. And I thought everywhere I read, it's only for the old people. It's only 70, 80 years old. Everybody comes back. She was 48. And that was it. I saw her last on April 13th when I dropped her off at the hospital. Couldn't speak to her afterwards. She was quarantined. We were quarantined. And so when they called us on April 21st in the night, they said, you can come to the hospital and see her body and everything. Because if you don't come in the next 7 to 8 hours, her body will be going to the morgue and you're not going to be able to see her at all because it's a COVID-19 body. So this is around 11:30ish. So I said, we're quarantined, but they said, don't worry, you can still come. We give you special permission from the hospital, but it's only the next of kin, me, my son, and my daughter. Wow. So like her parents couldn't come, her brothers couldn't come, nobody could see that body. So tonight, we get in and, we drive and everything. My son is driving and the word's out. Everybody knows by now that, Sabir's wife had passed away. And we go there and, we go downstairs at the hospital and they take us to the 10th floor, which was a COVID ward. So before you walked in, you have to be like you're walking into space type of thing. And they made you wear all these equipment and everything, you name it. And my son said, okay, I want to go in alone, Dad. I'd like to, see Dad. He went in and then he came back and then me and my daughter went because my daughter couldn't be alone. And we were in a glass barrier. So behind the glass was her body and I'm on this side of the glass. So my moment was where I saw her, I did my last prayers, but I couldn't physically touch her, Suzanne. I couldn't touch her. And then you want to touch somebody. You want to feel them. You know what I mean? This is my companion, my buddy, my best friend, 28 years, my best friend / enemy also. We'd fight like cats and dogs, but yet we would always be there. She'd always be there, helping me and raising my 2 beautiful children. But I couldn't touch her. I can do anything. Next day comes Wednesday. I had to start arranging the funeral also because we try to bury within the Muslim community within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. So I'm getting the phone calls, but at the same time, I'm arranging everything. The mosque did everything. So everything was ready for Thursday, April 23rd, the funeral, all the arrangements is ready. The mosque said, okay, we'll pick up the body. They even picked up the body. They brought them into the funeral home on Wednesday, and they said on Thursday, they'll take it from the funeral home to the cemetery. Now the big kicker comes in. Me, my wife, my daughter and my son, we were quarantined. So here's on Wednesday, April 23rd. The funeral is only for 10 people because it's a COVID-19 and it's still so new and everything. I could not even be at the funeral. I could not be at the procession. I could not be there to touch her casket or carry the casket because we were quarantined. Oh my goodness. So the city of York region, which I live in, they knew my house was red flagged. So I couldn't walk out of my house because I would be ticketed. We were ticketed. My son and my daughter were not even going out of the house. Obviously, as 20-year-old, they want to get out there, pick up something. They were not even going out. We were quarantined. So my house was like red flag from York Regional Health Department. So the mosque people knew, the funeral people knew, the cemetery people knew that you better not come over there because if you do come, you will be ticketed. So I have a choice to make. Do I go and get into trouble with the funeral or I stay home and watch on a Zoom call? And I'm like, I love my wife to death and I love this the law of the land. And obviously, we were also feeling the effects of COVID, like sore throat. Uh, we didn't catch it fully, but our symptoms were starting to build up. So you never know what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid, my wife is gone. I have to live on. What happens to my children? So I made a decision, a conscious decision that, okay, we're not going. We saw your mom, guys, we're going to see your mom um, in the Zoom calls, and the funeral procession happened. Everything took place. And that was it. That was really hurt. We could not see her casket. We could not touch her casket or anything. And life went on. Next day was April 24th, Friday, which was our Ramadan started.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Fasting started. And I believe, being a student of TGR, Think and Grow Rich, but I believe if you're a student of anything, there is an infinite intelligence. There is God out there. There is something, whatever you want to call it. There is something out there above you and I. And if he wants to make us a stronger person, he gives us these tragedies. He gives us these difficulties. But at the same time, if you're not willing to get out of that tragedy, that difficulty, you're not going to be that next individual, next great person.
Yeah, I remember one of our phone calls, and we were talking about faith, and you said that I don't know how people who don't have a foundation of faith get through moments like this, and you were grateful for your training in terms of Think and Grow Rich and all the mindset and personal development, but you were also grateful for your faith. Do you think that faith and mindset are like together? Like, are they both?
Jigsaw puzzle, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
If you have one but you don't have the other, it's not going to work.
Mm.
It's not going to work, because remember, if you believe in yourself that I'm going to do great things, but if you don't have the faith, if you don't have the faith that God is going to help you, or faith is going to bring in the circumstances, with Suzanne coming into my life to help me get there, with somebody else coming into my life to help me get there. If you don't have that, it's that jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
If you think that I'm going to be the single-handed individual that's going to make the change in the world, it's not going to be possible. The great ones made changes in the world with collective effort, with mindset, faith, with people. The great Mandela, 27 years in a prison cell. He had faith, he had mindset. Mahatma Gandhi, trampling the greatest army. And these people went through tragedy, they went through trials and tribulations. And that's when I said to myself, when you called me, I said, as they say in our faith, is that you need to mourn for 3 to 4 days maximum for men. And for a woman, after 4 months, she has to move on, because she's gone through a menstrual period, and so she knows that if she was pregnant, whether it was the other person's child, but she has to move on. And for men also. So the move on does not mean that forget it and let me start partying. No, move on means he or she is not coming back. She has returned back to the Lord, where we are going to be returning back. And you have to accept Lord's will. So that's what I learned. We have to accept. Suzanne, when something happens to us, I think the biggest problem with human nature and people that are listening is that we just sit and bicker. And why me? Why me? But you know what? There's another door that just opened up. We never see that door open. We completely complain about that door closed on us.
It's interesting, because I'm rereading Think and Grow Rich for, like, I don't know how many times, me and you. That's one of the things. And of course, one of the principles he talks about, and I really want everyone listening to get this, because Think and Grow Rich is a business book. But one of the principles he talks about is you've got to combine desire with faith, and they go like this. And he says that because faith is the belief in something bigger than you that's going to intervene. But I think the other beautiful thing you're saying, Sabir, is the power of acceptance. and acceptance is one of the principles that I use in Mindset Mastery, is that things happen, and some of us, it's almost like we start swimming upstream against the current, which is life, and we're like, no, I'm going to swim in the other direction. But life is taking you this way, and if we are willing to surrender and go with the current, as you say, there are doors and opportunities and different things that become available. What I want to ask you is, how do you find the strength to step in and lean into faith while your business is closed, your wife has just passed, I'm sure your children are going through their own things, you're going through stuff. How did you find that wherewithal or the courage to say, okay, I accept and I move?
You know, it's funny you say that. I'm just gonna, I just have my book over here. Just give me a second here. You know, everything has a reason, and I'm just in my studio here. I started reading this book, The 5 a.m. Club. Robert Sharma. Started reading this in December, not knowing what was going to happen in April time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So in the book, he talks about the 5 a.m. club, waking up in the morning, meditating, you know, saying your affirmation, auto-suggestion, as they say in Think and Grow Rich. So he talks about certain rituals that you do basically at 5 a.m. You know, things that get scheduled are things that get done, like they said. And if you don't schedule those things, ain't gonna get done, you know?
Yeah.
So things of that nature. So I started reading these things, and I started waking up at 5 a.m., starting Christmas time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I do my prayers. We have our prayers before sunrise. Both my wife and I were doing this. We would get up in the morning and we would do our prayers. Would be just like a meditation and everything. So we just started doing all that Christmas time, December. And then there was no lockdown, there was no pandemic, there was no coronavirus or anything. So it made me strong. So I think infinite intelligence was guiding me towards this. So what did I do to answer your question is, even to this date, I've been up since 4:30. It's 7:30 right now. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning. So just before 5 a.m. I did my prayers, I did my meditation, and I did whatever I need to do to get my mind set. Because when the sun is down, when it's dark out there, you can connect, because that's what he says, infinite intelligence. That's what he says in the book. You can connect. Whatever religion you are, meditation is great when you can connect it. And that's how I found my peace. That's how I found my solace, saying that your wife is not in pain. Your wife is in a beautiful place now. She's at peace, because I believe, Suzanne, I'd love her to be here today. But they say people who go on a ventilator and go on this machine, they can come back with a lot more tragedy. They could be paralyzed. They could be in a lot of more pain. She's 48. She's a female. I don't know if I wanted to see another 20 plus years of her struggling and being paralyzed and everything. And she wouldn't want it as a female like yourself, right? You would like, whoa. And every day you would be saying, man, I don't like this life. I don't like this life. So probably for her, that was a better thing. And that's when I accepted and say, yes, God did something good for her. She's in a beautiful place, you know, and she, you know, they say, they call you, when you're a good person, God calls you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She was a beautiful soul. So we were both meditating. We were always praying. We were getting up early in the morning. And maybe that's what it was.
You know, I think that's a real good point. And if someone can put in the comment section rituals and routines, and you know what's funny is people are listening. It's rare. There's not a comment. There's nothing. I think people are just like, oh my gosh, they're just glued to their computers and phones.
Thank you very much.
So if you're, please send Sabir some love. I can see everybody's just like, oh my goodness. But there is something about the power of rituals and routines. And I'm part of the 5 a.m. club myself, and I have some of my girls on that are listening that I work out with. We work out at 6. So I've been doing this, and I've been doing this for years. And I think what you're talking about, Sabir, is that the muscle it takes to get up at 5, to meditate, to work out, to do all the things, to do your prayers, all those things, we don't really see the muscle it's building, right? And I tell people that it's that muscle that kicks in the most interesting way, because you have been training your mind, strengthening your mind. And we're not talking IQ right now, so everyone's clear. We're talking, you know, your EQ, your strength, your fortitude. You have been training and conditioning your mind. So when adversity happens, it's almost like that overrides.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. And it's basically preparing you. So if I had that attitude of change and everything, and it's been over a few years, but did I know a few years ago this major tragedy was going to? No, but I think it was preparing me. And that's what everybody on this call need to understand. The journey, whatever your goal is, it's going to be a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in weeks and months. It could take years.
Yeah.
Rome was not built overnight, they say, right? And if you want to leave a legacy, I say that with a capital L, you know, it's tenacity, it's consistency, persistency, you know, and that's what it's going to take. As I say, basically, it's not something that it's going to be open overnight. It's going to be more like small daily, you know, seemingly insignificant improvements when done consistently over time.
Yeah.
Staggering results. So it's consistently done over time. And that's why I've been doing this, you know, since December. I've been getting up at the 5 a.m. club. I've been meditating and everything. And now it's like, it's second nature to me.
Yeah, I get it.
Nature. You know, if I were to go somewhere, it's second nature to me. I'm like, okay, I got to wake up now. Or it's like I think my kids were making fun of me and says, tomorrow's a Raptors game. I said, man, that's a late game. It starts at 9 p.m. I'm like, that's a late game because I want to be in bed by 10:30 because the game's not going to be over by then. You know what I mean? But I've conditioned my mind like, I want to get up. Even if I have to sleep, I want to make sure maybe I might miss the Raptors game, but I want to make sure I get enough sleep so I can get up by 4:35 a.m. and not miss another day of that. Because when you break that one day of habit, it's gone maybe. And I'm just so excited. Like every day, I'm excited to go to bed because I want to wake up. So if you want, people listen over there, when you want to do something, that's what it is. And that's exactly what I've done. Said, you know what, acceptance, but I want to also leave a legacy for me and my wife so that people remember it and share the story with you. Absolutely.
And you know, so one of the questions I had for you was the whole concept of vision.
Yes.
And as you were going through this, so you get into your rituals and routines, and you know, it's interesting. All our conversations are coming back. So I'm like, then we had another conversation.
Absolutely. I'm glad you remember because I don't remember those ones right now. Okay.
And I remember you talking about your vision. And living into your vision to honor your wife. How has vision pulled you forward?
You know what? It's one thing when it's like keeping you on track, or it's like the accountability. It's you being accountable to yourself because you said you were going to do this. So let me share with you folks. I'm from India. So, you know, I've always said to myself and my wife and I said, we're going to build a well. You know, for our legacy and everything. And actually it was around December also, we were just sitting around and said, yeah, let's dig a well and everything in India. And you know, it'll come to the time, you know, we're still young, we have time and everything. Fast forward, she passes away in April. But you know what? There's a well built right now in her name in India. People are drinking water out of that well. The poor and needy are drinking water. The well was just constructed around May, so she passed away. So within a month after she passed away, at the end of May, first week of June. So within a few weeks, basically, I made sure the money was there. My uncle is there. He got in touch with the right people. But I kept true to myself. So that basically was like an accountability, your accountability partner.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's what it was. Second thing is vision is like that thing basically that you can make reality happen. If, everything is first starts off with a vision. Everything
Right.
starts off with visualization. Imagination is the gateway to manifestation. If you can't imagine it, you're not going to manifest it. Same thing with,
Yeah.
vision. If you can't see the vision, you're not going to see yourself anywhere. No goals. It's like driving in the dark, man. Imagine, have you ever done, when we were young, basically, you ever turn off the headlight in the car, it's like so dark out there and everything,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like scary and everything, like, whoa, how do you drive? That's the thing. If you don't
Yeah.
have any vision, you're not going to get anything. People without vision, they say they perish.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's
And
how
and
this
and and they drift, right?
drift.
And and I think what you're also saying is because you had vision, you had a vision that you had started and created with your wife that was crystal. So you had that to move to pull you forward because you had the vision of this beautiful state of the art new office. I remember when you guys were just getting it going, you had the vision of building the well. You had a vision. I remember, this is what my children need. I have the vision of how my wife and I discussed how these children were going to be raised. So you had all this clarity of who you were called and meant to be,
Correct.
and that pulled you.
Absolutely. That's just like, having goals.
Mm-hmm.
Vision is like another set of goals. If you don't have any goals, you're not going to get anywhere. And vision is the same thing. If you can visualize it, if you can see it, it will manifest. So when I saw that and I got the opportunity that in a remote place in India, that there's no water and, sanitation is a different thing. They don't
Yeah.
have drinking water. And at that time, Suzanne, the temperature was there flaring between 45 to 48 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Those who are listening, there might be people listening globally, so it's not Fahrenheit, it's Celsius.
That's
You
that's
can imagine the water you want to drink. So now, today, that well is there, that child, that mother, that poor person can drink water and it started off with a vision. And yes, God bless my wife and everything.
and
I
honoring a
made it
word.
happen. I made it in her honor. Maybe it's done a little too late. I wish she was here to see it, but it's never too late for anything. And that's what we need to do is leave this world a better place than we found it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
legacy.
And I want to just stop and make sure that everybody listening gets this. And I see the comments. Anila is saying, vision is the same as goals. If you have no goals, you're going to go nowhere. And I think what I really want everyone listening to get is that sometimes we postpone setting our goals. Like I write my goals every December because I can't go into January without vision and goals written, right? 100 goals, vision clearly written. But I think what you're also saying is that if we wait and tragedy hits, it's harder to get back up and start casting vision at that point in time because you're truly lost at that moment. But when tragedy hits and you're already moving into it with clarity of vision, clarity of purpose, and particularly united clarity with your husband, your wife, your partner, it will step in and it's almost like you still have something to walk on.
Yes.
Whereas for a lot of people, they don't have anything to walk on in the best of times. So it's like the ground fell out in the worst of time. And I've said to you, you inspire me because I watched you move when most people they wouldn't be, they wouldn't know what to do. And it's so reinforced in me the power of mindset, the power of faith, the power of doing the work in the good times so that it can kick in for you in the hardest times.
Very, very true. I mean, and it's faith, believing that good days are going to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
With darkness, there is light next day or whatever it is. But that's the belief you need to have. And I'm also thinking right now what the tragedy is, um, that we you know, she would love to leave this place in a better place. Well, let me continue on with it, right?
Yeah.
We go through a lot of things in our lives, be it a marriage. Well, you know what? It's okay. Maybe move on, but don't bicker and move on. Uh, and if you can't find the solution, find a mentor, because you know what? You're not the only person that's gone through that problem in this world.
Yeah.
You're not the last one either. Whether it's marriage, whether it's a death in the family, whether loss of a loved one, loss of job, loss of business, whatever it might be, financial difficulty. You're not the first one. And let me tell you, you're not going to be the last one in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Find a mentor, find somebody and see what you can do instead of just sitting and waiting for good things to come to you. You know, like they say, God said in the Bible and the Quran also, this is what they say: you ask and you shall receive. But there's one thing in between that. You ask, you believe, and you shall receive. Believe meaning believing in yourself, believing in your capability.
Yeah. And I think for me, belief also means ask with expectation and do the work to prepare to receive. Right.
Absolutely. But the thing is, though, if you do not basically believe, you know, that means, you know, and the beauty about belief is that, Suzanne, if you had seen me 6, 7 years ago, and you know, I think 2 years ago we were at that banquet hall when we did the presentation. You
Yeah.
know, I look good. I think I presented well. You know, I presented well. I was confident. However, if you would have saw me 6, 7 years ago, I was shaking. I
Mm-hmm.
had what do you call sweat in my hand. I
Pretty
was sweating,
calm. Yeah.
fingers numb and everything. Um, and damn it, at that time, my wife never recommended Estee Lauder to me to get my show my makeup and everything. We always talk about that. My folks that are listening over there, God bless my wife to the highest level, is because she put on a lot of makeup for me to make me look great. And that's why I wish she was here today to make me look just as good. But she would always put on a lot of makeup for me to help me look good with the Estee Lauder makeup she would get for me. But what
Tip,
I'm saying
tip,
is,
camera tip, camera ready tip.
camera ready, Tim. But what I'm saying is, I believed in myself that I want to be in front of people. I wanted to speak in front of people. I want to tell my story. I had a different stories and everything. Uh, but I believe in myself, and I believe that I don't think I was ready at that time. But I took training. I did things. I did development course. I did things and whatnot. And fast forward here, almost 7 years later, I'm ready now.
Yeah,
I'm doing
absolutely.
it. Things are
Yeah.
happening, and so on and so forth. But if I didn't believe in myself, that would not happen. If I still felt that, it's not for me, it's not going to work, I would still be that guy that would be nervous, um, sweaty, and not confident.
Absolutely. I so believe that. You know, the one of the last questions I wanted to ask you was, um, you know, for me, one of the ways I've learned to cope with anything that happens is I look for the lesson, right? The lesson, the gifting, the blessing, the learned. Has there been lessons, giftings, blessings in all of this that you have said, you know what, I don't know if I would have appreciated this, understood this.
Yeah, I mean, lots of lessons, basically. You know what I mean? Appreciate every single day, man. I'm so thankful for my two children right now.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wasn't very close to my children. My wife was very close to them, to my son and my daughter. Not to say I was a bad father, but I guess I was so much into my entrepreneurial business, my business and everything, that I learned a lesson that enjoy and appreciate your loved ones, which is
Yeah.
my children right now, my son and my daughter. They're everything to me. I appreciate that. Appreciate the moments, because anything can change. business also. Anything can change. This pandemic, anything can change. Appreciate everything. We take, especially in Canada, we take things for granted. Susanna, what do I mean by that is we got the best healthcare system in the world. But you know what? We never go to the doctor. We never take care of our health. You know, only when something tragedy strikes or when illness strikes, we go there. We got the best healthcare. Go out there, take care of your health. Quarterly, get a checkup done and everything. We take things for granted. We take things for granted in the sense like that water. We take things for granted. So I've learned to feel that appreciate the little things in life. I'm gonna tell people to maybe do an exercise every day. This is an exercise I started doing in the last 2 years. Every morning, my wife and I think the greatest thing I learned in this is called gratitude. Just one word. So every morning for the last 2 years or so, what I've started doing, me and my wife, when we would have breakfast together in the morning. So before we take our first morsel, before we take our first bite, whatever the breakfast is on that day, we would say out loud 10 things that you're grateful for today. And it could be the 10 thing that you said yesterday or weeks ago. It could be, your health today. My every single muscle tissues and in my body are working well. The house, the finances. God, thank God the stock market didn't collapse last night. You know what I mean? I have a house, my son, my daughter, my family, my business. 10 things living in Canada. You know what I mean? I'm breathing. The food I have on the table right now at this moment. So I started doing that. So I'm going to tell those who are listening to this, make this a habit every single day. Just say 10 things and do it at your breakfast table before you eat take that first bite. Say it out loud, husband, wife, and maybe get your kids involved in it also. Yeah. And you'll see that the more you are grateful for the little things in life, and it could be that little breakfast. I'm going to share one thing, Suzanne. When my wife was hospitalized, I was quarantined. I have enough money to buy a bag of milk, but I was quarantined that I could not even walk out and get a bag of milk to make coffee or tea or serve breakfast to my children with cereal. Can you imagine my situation is then? I thought I was rich in wealth, rich in health, but because I did not go out shopping, I did not have a bag of milk, which is $3, $4, Suzanne. Yeah. How poor did I feel? I wasn't grateful. I had to tell my brother, and he brought off and dropped off a bag of milk. Then I realized that, man, I had everything. I have this house and everything of that nature. But it was that bag of milk, waking up in the morning and not able to make that coffee or tea or serving your kids cereal, simple thing. Yeah. I don't think I was the richest man in the world anymore, or I wasn't the richest man on Babylon either, man.
I think what you're really highlighting for me, and I learned this lesson probably 15 years ago, was that we get so caught up in the hustle. Yes. And we get so caught up in the things, right? I got to get the car, I got to get this, I got to hit this next target. And that's beautiful and that's great. But at the same time, it's living for today and being grateful for the moment and being present in the moment. And I realize that when I get overtaken by worry, when I get overtaken by fear, it's because I'm either running into the future or living in the past.
Yes.
And I'm not grateful for the present.
That's true.
And so what you're really saying to us is every day, ground yourself in the present by being, what am I grateful for right now? And I think for me, the other part is, what am I going to take on today? And let me just focus on today. Tomorrow's another day. And I think the other part is also, how am I going to celebrate today? How am I going to live today? Yes. How am I going to feel abundant today? Because you're so teaching us that tomorrow's not promised. And if we're always living for tomorrow, I'll get back to that tomorrow. We'll celebrate that tomorrow. We'll go do that tomorrow. Tomorrow may not come. So I tell people I don't have a retirement conversation. I'm gonna live like I'm retired every day. Right? So there's not something I'm gonna do. It's on my list to do. So this year I put my things down I want to do, check. Next year I put my things down I want to do, check. Because who knows? So it's to live full out with absolutely, so that you don't sit in the place of regret. You don't sit in the place of, and I think that, you know, as I'm listening to you, that's what's so prevalent for me.
Absolutely. Live in the present and appreciate and gratitude for what you have, opposed to living in the future or expectations, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. That's great.
And you know, I was as we were getting ready for this interview, I was on your page and I saw that you got the second quarter recognition for Century 21.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I had to smile. I had to smile because I was thinking to myself, here's a man who has every reason to sit in all sorts of, you know, pity, poor me, all these different things. And here you are producing at the highest level, being a father, you know, running your business, mentoring, modeling. And I just sat there and I was like, I am so inspired. I am so inspired.
Thank you.
And you know, I think the biggest takeaway for everyone listening is, you know, it is to live life to its fullest and to set your goals, cast your vision, leave a legacy, live for today, plan for tomorrow, and live full out, because that's exactly what you're demonstrating to everyone. Stuff happens, but I love the way you said, did you say mourn for 4 days and then
4 days? Absolutely. That's what the religions say. That's what the Quran says. Mourn for 4 days because it's God's will. It's God's will. You know, the Son of God, man, he's gone. But look, 2020 years later, the earth is still rotating. God bless his soul, Jesus to the highest level. And we have to move on. And that's what I remember. It's like, Jesus is no more, but God is still alive, right? I'm not here to preach a religion. And that's exactly what we need to do. My wife is no more, but I need to still live on because I need to take care of myself. At the same time, if I don't take care of myself, who's going to take care of my son and my daughter? Because I need to take care of them. So, you know, something that told me was that, you know, we always say, I want to take care of my son and my daughter. I want to take care of my kids. I want to do this. But you first got to take care of yourself before you take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, let's pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and move on because she ain't coming back again, man.
Yeah.
And I'd be so scared. I don't know what to do right now.
and I'm sure she's just so proud of who you're being. I think she's just,
you know, she Suzanne, I think, you know, I was a co-author in Empowering Women to Succeed from Burnout to Victory. So it's, you know, I was the only male author in that book.
yeah.
So you'd be thinking, what the heck is this male guy talking about empowering women to succeed? But it actually is the woman in my life. So starting from my mom and my wife, she inspired me to do things. She is the one who said, go out there and make things happen, right? Live your dreams, go do things, basically. So she is the one who always inspired me. So if she inspired me to do things, then what the heck am I doing?
Yeah.
Lonely. I'm telling others to get your act together, but yet I'm in the corner over here, not doing things. No. You know, that's not what it is, man. That's not what the legends, the Mandelas, the Mother Teresa's, the Gandhis of the world. That's what they did, and that's what we need to do also, Suzanne. Absolutely. And I'm so excited. I know she's not here, but she's looking down
Yeah.
at us basically. And that's what we need to do and just continue with that. Absolutely. Make a difference in the world. Absolutely.
And so for everyone listening, we've been listening to Sabir Chawala. I've been sitting down and interviewing this wonderful man. And I think what you're leaving us with is exactly what leadership is, right? Is when we lead ourselves exceptionally, we create this thing called influence by who we're being in the world. And leadership is tested in the toughest moments, and it's how you and I choose to rise and how you and I choose to walk through the world that creates this thing called influence. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being a model. Thank you for being such a source of inspiration. And thank you for being my friend and someone I can call and say, hey, how you doing? You know, you have completely inspired me. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for all the listeners and the viewers. It's a great life out there. Go out there and live it to the fullest, because you know what? You just don't want to live this life without things done half done, basically, and leave this world in a better place before we go wherever it is. Let's make things happen. That's what it is.
Thank you. Everyone, my name is Suzanne Hart. I've been sitting down with Mr. Sabir Chawala. We have been talking about bouncing back after tragedy, and what an example we've had tonight. If this conversation touches you and you want to have a moment to sit down and chat, I know there's a link in the comments section. You can definitely register for sit down with me, a Mindset Mastery mentoring moment, and definitely have a conversation. If you want to connect with Mr. Sabir Chawala, let us know. We will make sure you get connected with this gentleman. I'm just like just so full right now. So I gotta say, I am just so full. You have blessed me. I think you've blessed everyone listening. There are comments. I'm going to invite you to, you know, after the interview, to just definitely go in and read the comments, because people are sending you love. People are totally inspired by who you're being. You know, Anila says, thank you for the insight and the warm talk. I love it. This is what I needed at this time. Outstanding. Let's see, what else do we got? Lots of hearts and loves coming up. Taria says, practicing gratitude is so powerful. I know I saw, Don Macon says, I appreciate you. Let's see, I know I saw Joyce had a comment. Joyce Swenson, where was your comment? Speechless, she says.
Thank you.
Sending you love and light.
Wow, thank you. Wow. And that's what we need to do. We need more love in the world for what we're going through as the entire universe. I mean, and if we can spread that love, spread that warmth, that's all there is to it. It's all there is to it, basically, you know what I mean? And that's what we can make it a better place, because it is a beautiful world. God has created this world. It's so magnificent that we just got to continue to love this world and be grateful for it. Absolutely.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been sitting with Sabir Chawala. My name is Suzanne Hart. This was Mindset Mastery. We will be back here next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look for the promotion, register to come check out our next conversation. I will see you back here next week. Blessings and take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.